The more information that comes out from the Brown University incident, the more of a debacle it actually turns into. Late last night, it was released, they had released the name of an individual that they're holding as a person of interest. Turns out that person didn't do it and was released, and the Washington Post released their name, and the internet found that person and potentially, smeared them wrongfully. Now, they were a person of interest, but they weren't the one that did it. It then came out early this morning that one of the individuals who seemed to be targeted, and I will explain later in the video how I think they were targeted, was the leader, the vice president of the Brown University Republican Club. And her particular passing seemed especially personal. And the local police have now admitted not only do they have zero footage of the incident, which has to be a lie, but that the individual is still out there. And it's a complete failure of the FBI and of local police and campus police. And I'm going to give you all the way updated right now. By the way, 10 seconds for, I don't need to tell you about our gift boxes, but I will tell you, until they're gone, 25% off. Basically losing money at that rate, but this way we can just sell them all. So whether you want the advent calendar, the gift box, or Kona, or all of it, promo code LASTCHANCE25. Today is the last day you can order and guarantee for Christmas. So get your order in. Just go to coffeebrandcoffee.com, go to Christmas gifts, promo code LASTCHANCE25. We only have a few left of each. And make sure, I'll put the link in the description below for you as well. Now, I want to go to the timeline here, because here's what's crazy, okay? Here's the info from Key Points according to @MetaBTC. Students and teaching assistant at Brown University are still trying to determine what the individual said before opening fire. I'm sure he said the snack bar thing. My question, what does it mean? What does that mean? The words or language were used were not understood by those present. So perhaps they yelled something in a foreign language, and they don't know exactly what they said, or they just, it was muffled, or whatever the case may be. It's difficult to know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it was something about a snack bar. That's my guess. The individual is not a Brown University student. They know that somehow. I don't know how they know that if they don't have any video evidence of it, but okay. The incident occurred at 4 p.m. during a final exam review session. The class was Principles of Economics, a prerequisite course for many upper-level classes. The session was led by Joseph Oduro, a 21-year-old teaching assistant and Brown senior. The students heard the incident screaming in the hallway before he entered the lecture hall. A masked individual carrying a rifle appeared in the door, but he wasn't carrying a rifle. We know it was a handgun. We know that much. The individual apparently shouted something. Approximately 20 students hid behind desks with the teacher assistant, and one student took one to the leg. Due to the lecture hall layout, students seated in the middle were unable to escape quickly and were the most affected. Again, some students were left lying on the floor, unable to move. A suspect was taken into custody after 11-hour manhunt. He was not the individual. Completely wrong. More than 400 law enforcement officers have been involved in the search. The suspect was located in a hotel, which again, we know he was not the suspect. We know that now. He's been released. Security footage shows a tall figure dressed in all black calmly exiting an academic building onto Hope Street. It remains unclear whether the individual had any connection to Brown University. None of the victims have been publicly identified, except they have been. We now know some more information, okay? The last 24 hours of the investigation at Brown University have been a debacle. Specific people in a specific room in a specific building at a specific time were attacked. I agree. I think that there was specificity in this attack. 6 hours later, the president of the university publicly states that she has no idea what the classroom was even being used for. Cameras everywhere. Not a single one of them captured the suspect in any useful way. The person of interest is identified. The name is leaked to the Washington Post, and it was the wrong man. Now, we learned that one of the victims was one of the few conservative voices on campus in a class being taught by a prominent Jewish professor. Brown also had an official policy of not exposing racial and ethnic descriptions from its security alerts. Eyewitnesses may have seen the attacker and not even known it. Incompetence is too nice of a word. This is an incompetence plus narrative bias, perhaps deliberate bias, greatly harming the investigation. I believe that this individual was probably, a Muslim, probably, but I don't know that for sure. JD Vance tweets, this beautiful young girl was one of ones who lost their life at Brown University. It takes special courage to lead an organization of conservatives on a left-wing campus, and I'm very sorry our country has lost one of its bright young stars. Now, this is the girl, and it is being reported, so we don't know. I can't say this for sure, but there is this account that doesn't always get it right, but is often shares information that said she was targeted like in the face. I assume that was at close range. I think that would probably be pretty personal if that's true. We don't know how many others passed away. Ella Brown led the Brown Republicans on campus, known for strong liberal views. It could just have been a coincidence. Maybe. But I don't believe in a lot of coincidences anymore. This says Ella, was in the face. Whoever they're looking for knew exactly what they were planning. I keep thinking she was the main target. That's what I think right now too. But again, we don't know. And due to massive incompetence, I won't talk about local PD in this way, but the campus PD, they had a camera for every 8 or 9 students, over 800 or 900 cameras on that campus. But now they're saying, well, there weren't a lot of cameras in the engineering building because it was old. Brown has 800 cameras, an $8 billion endowment. And this is the best footage they have. It's like a grainy picture of the guy walking away with nothing on it. It's absolutely unforgivable. That they say this is the best footage they have. 800 cameras. This is the best footage they have.
That they have now released is not the person in this video, the video that's been seen all around the world, showing a person leaving the scene of the shooting on Saturday afternoon. The AG said while there was some evidence that justified detaining this person, recent evidence and lab testing from the scene is pointing them in a different direction. Providence's mayor, Brett Smiley, says even though the murderer is still on the loose, they are not reinstating a shelter-in-place order that was lifted just...
You know why? Probably because they believe this was targeted. That's my guess. Maybe it was some crazy ex-boyfriend. I don't know. But my guess is that they now believe it's also targeted because that's why they got rid of the shelter in place. Like if they believe that this guy could come back at any moment and continue his attack, then I would assume they would have the shelter in place still in place, don't you think?
Just before 6 a.m. yesterday and are now instead increasing the police presence.
We will be releasing the person of interest who had been detained earlier today. We know that this is likely to cause fresh anxiety for our community.
Yeah.
And we want to reiterate what we said earlier, which remains true, which is ever since the initial call, now a day and a half ago, we have not received any credible or specific threats to the Providence community.
But you didn't have one in the first place when the guy walked in there.
Now, the chief of police here in Providence says a tip led them to the now released person of interest, reportedly a 24-year-old man from Wisconsin. The FBI helped locate him at a hotel 20 miles south of Brown University in Coventry, Rhode Island, where he was detained on Sunday morning. Investigators also admit this video of the person of interest is the best video they have.
Oh my God, they're never going to catch him. That's the best video that they have. And by the way, just moments ago, they ID'd the second victim, I think, that of the two that passed away just moments ago. This is an Uzbek sophomore LID, but also there's an Uzbeki student who was, where did this go? It's just not in this article. Here. First Brown University victim ID was the vice president of school's Republican club. Second Brown victim was ID'd as an Uzbek American. The U.S. ambassador to Uzbekistan mourned the loss of his bright future and offered sincere condolences. Erzmankov was one of 2 students who passed away Saturday. Now, I'm not sure that the Uzbeks were involved in Republican groups. Again, we know the victims. Basically, they have now admitted that they have no footage of the perpetrator. Listen to this, too.
It's about the process.
The most common question I've gotten for the last 24 hours, it revolves around the fact that Brown University is the most camera-ridden, most responsive piece of real estate in Rhode Island, and yet there seems to be little or no video evidence outside of that clip. You know, respecting the investigation, is there a lot more video that we're just not able to see yet because of the ongoing investigation, or is there simply no video?
So what we shared with you the other day is what we have that we could share, and then we'll continue to, again, we're continuing to collect evidence. As we speak, we have detectives out there trying to continue to find. So I don't want to tell you that there's no more video because we might find something within the next few minutes. So yes, it's possible, but what we gave you the other day is what we have. Go ahead.
So, Colonel, if you wouldn't mind, it's about the
So
The most common question I've gotten for the last 24 hours, it revolves around the fact that
Nothing.
Brown University is the most camera-ridden, most responsive piece of real estate in Rhode Island, and yet there seems to be little or no video evidence outside of that clip. You know, respecting the investigation.
I mean, we have a woman president, a Spanish-speaking police chief, and an interpreter. They got all that handled, but not one video or description of the person that did this. They walked in, took 2 lives, injured a dozen more, and nobody knows anything about them. Absolute incompetence. This university should be sued into oblivion by the victims. And I'll keep you updated as more information comes in. Keep it locked in here. Leave a like on the video if you haven't yet. Subscribe or follow down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.